asked me to name one Christie character other than the main protagonists, I couldn't if you held a gun to my head. Like, no way I could remember one of their names. So as you can probably tell, this is a tier list I created, and that's for the simple reason that I didn't want to pay for the tier list maker everyone uses. I've been a little bit creative with naming my tiers, and I'm pretty proud of a few of them. So the best tier is She Killed It, meaning this was just a great murder mystery. Also, get my pun here because she literally did kill it. Then we have Minor Slay for a book that was pretty good, but not perfect. Then we have Just Mid. We have She Killed It, but this time negative because she literally murdered it. It wasn't good. It didn't work out at all. And then we have a tier that is specifically reserved. I don't want to say reserved. Maybe some books will be in here for other reasons. But I mainly built this to put everything that's racist or homophobic or anything along those lines in here. I'm afraid there's going to be a lot in literally jail. So let's see how often Agatha Christie should go to jail for everything she did to marginalized groups. We'll see. I apologize for the way those book covers are ripped. I tried doing something cool and now they look really stupid, but I was too lazy to change it. So I hope you can live with it. And if not, you've probably already clicked off this video, so there's nothing much I can do now. The first one is Elephants Never Forget, and I didn't like this one. I think this was one she wrote later in life when her dementia had already started, and I think it's quite noticeable in this book. It's an Ariadne Oliver mystery featuring Poirot, and I've always thought that Ariadne Oliver was a poor excuse for a self-insert. Usually I don't like the stories that involve her. I think Elephants Never Forget goes into She Killed It because she did. It wasn't good. The ending left me sitting there like, what the fuck do you even mean? I think this was the first book I've read of hers that I didn't like, and it kind of shattered this illusion a little bit because the ending was so stupid in my opinion and not warranted at all, and that's just when the cracks started to form. The next one on my list is Endless Night, which is one of the standalone books, so it's not part of a series. Please excuse me if I say for every other book that I don't remember the plot at all, because you know how people sometimes say that their brain is like a strainer because nothing much stays in there. My brain is basically like a bucket without a bottom, so everything flows out right away. I'm really bad at remembering murder mysteries, and especially if it's Agatha Christie, because sometimes it all just blurs into one big blob. What I remember of this book is that the protagonist marries a rich woman, and in the end she's dead. If you think this video isn't going to contain spoilers, I would have to tell you that you're wrong, because I'm about to tell you the ending of this book. The protagonist did it. This happens in one other Agatha Christie novel that I've read where I really liked it, but this time around I fucking hated it. So again, this is another one for She Killed It. We're off to a really bad start. But next up is Evil Under the Sun, and I think a lot of people are probably gonna know the movie. This is one I like. I can't say if I love it because honestly, again, I don't remember that much. I just know that people are on holiday. Imagine, my brain is really doing the most right now. I think someone is killed and mistaken for someone else. I don't really remember, but I remember liking it. And since we're going off vibes here, because apparently I have no substance to add at all, I'm gonna put this into Minor Slay. Because I think, if I don't remember it, she can't have killed it, you know? And the next one is Five Little Pigs. And this one I have to think for a second because I read most of those in German and the titles are quite different. But I think it's the one where they visit an artist who lives on a cliffside. I think that's the one. And also, coincidentally, that's the only thing I remember about it. I think this one was just mid. I mean, feel free to correct me whenever you feel like it. Next one is Lord Edgware Dies. And I think we have our first contender for literally jail. I'm so glad you took the honors, Lord Edgware. I remember this book being woefully anti-Semitic. Yeah, there's just no other way to describe it. There are always bankers who are also Jewish and have crooked noses in Agatha Christie stories, which honestly just get another stereotype. How hard can it be? I seem to remember that this one was even more outrageously anti-Semitic than some others I've read of her. So yeah, to jail we go. It's a life sentence and no way of getting out on probation. The next one is Hickory Dickory Dock. And I really have to say, I know that Agatha Christie liked to play with nursery rhymes, but I hate that title. The German title translated would just be The Mystery of the Buckle Shoes. And while that's a bit boring, I think Hickory Dickory Dock just sounds stupid. But I remember liking this. This is one I read after I had many failed attempts to love another Agatha Christie book. It's another Poirot one, which tend to be my favorites, even though Agatha Christie famously hated Poirot. I don't get why she hated him that much, so I'm going to put Hickory Dickory Dock into minor slay, even though the title breaches Geneva Conventions, in my opinion. Next one is Mrs. McGinty's Dead, and I don't remember it, which is good in some ways because then that makes me think that it wasn't offensive against anyone, but it's also obviously not good because I can't remember it. So I'm just going to put this in mid to somehow speed this along a little bit. I'm trying my best to align the book covers, but excuse me if I'm not doing so well with that. The next one is Murder is Easy, and I remember this being one of the ones I didn't like. I think there are witches involved, or at least like witchcraft in the sense that people believe in it. I didn't like Murder is Easy, so yeah, it's another one for She Killed It. What I'm really noticing right now while filming this is while I have read a lot of Agatha Christie's novels, I am not a fan per se. I would say I'm a hater, perhaps her biggest hater, but I think it's really important to see the faults of people you idolize. Not that I'm idolizing Agatha Christie. I spent like half a year's salary on her books. Yeah, I'm also ashamed of myself, don't worry. The next one is Murder on the Links, which is another good one, and again, it is a Poirot story. So you're really noticing the trend this is going, even though there are some good Miss Marple ones. I also just haven't read that many of those. I think it's also the story where Hastings finds his girlfriend. Next up is Murder on the Orient Express. And I think what I'm about to say might be a little controversial. This technically shouldn't be in here because I haven't read the book. I've just seen the movie and I've never felt the need to read the book after I had seen the movie. And I think that's the reason why this doesn't go in She Killed It good version. Branagh killed it. He killed it in a very bad way. He literally murdered that movie. I hate the way he portrays Poe. So I'll have to put Murder on the Orient Express into minor slay. Then we have N or M, and this is a Tommy and Tuppence mystery who have 4 books under their belt, I think. I have to admit something here. I like Tuppence, and I'm afraid to say it because in the end, isn't she just like a 20s version of a girl boss? But I also know that N or M deals with Nazis, At least that's what I think I remember. Also, fun fact, the cover that I'm using here wouldn't be legal in Germany because it has a swastika on it and we're not allowed to have that anywhere here. That's why I can't rate this one too badly. I know that I didn't really like it because it was like old Tommy and Tuppence, but I just like both of them a lot. So yeah, I guess I have to go with just mid. So yeah, I think many people who have read this don't like it, and I totally get why, because it wasn't very good. But again, Tommy and Tuppence, they are the ones. We have nothing in She Killed It good version, and also only one thing in literally jail. So I think that's not even as bad as I was expecting it to be. I thought literally jail would be half full by now. The next one is where a woman is on the train and she thinks she sees someone who's getting murdered, and then there's no body. And I think this was a pretty good one. It's a Miss Marple one, which is surprising to everyone here, and I liked it. So this one goes into Minor Slay, which we love. The next one is Nemesis, and what can I say? That title sure is correct, because this book is my nemesis. This is my worst nightmare wrapped into a book, because you know what happens here? A lesbian kills someone she loves. Why? Because she's a lesbian, and that means she's crazy. I mean, you know how lesbians be. At least Agatha Christie knew how they were. There's nothing more to say about this. This is jail. Deserves jail time so much. Literally never speak to me again if you like this book. Like, never speak to anyone again. Just go. Excuse me while I stare on my screen like a fucking grandma. But yeah, the next one is Parker Pine Investigates, which are short stories that are the definition of just mid. But there's also lots of racism in there, so we hate to see that, and another book goes to jail. The next one is Passenger to Frankfurt, and I have to say again, I don't remember this one, so I'm gonna assume that it is mid until I am proven otherwise. Next up is Parallel at End House, and I like this one. I think this actually might go into She Killed It, because I really didn't expect the ending. It slayed so hard, it was so good. It asked me to name one Christie character other than the main protagonists. I couldn't if you held a gun to my head. Like, no way I could remember one of their names. For what it's worth, I think the characters in this one were a little bit three-dimensional. Two-dimensional is bad. They were a little bit three-dimensional, which is the most I can say about any other Christie characters. Next up is Sad Cypress, which I think is Morphium in Germany, and I remember loving this one. Correct me again if I'm wrong, but this must be the one where a girl is on trial for killing another girl because she was competing for a guy. I think that's what it is, and obviously in the end she didn't do it, and I really like this one. I sometimes listen to it as an audiobook. So yeah, another one and She Killed It? What do you mean? Sometimes I think it's just like nostalgia for some of those stories that make me like them, but if that is the case, please don't tell me they are bad. I've spent so much money on Agatha Christie's books. If you tell me all of them are bad, like what have I done with my money? I'm just gonna put it in just mid. And there's really no one that can stop me, because this is my channel, my tier list, and my rules. Next up is Sparkling Cyanide. This one, I think, might belong into the Minor Slay category. Not that I remember much of the plot, but I know it involves this birthday dinner after the guy's wife has died a few years later, and someone is trying to poison the daughter, and in the end it turns out it was him, and he killed his own wife. That's the one I'm giving Minor Slay to. If it's another one, yeah, just ignore that. Just pretend it isn't the right one. Next up are the ABC murders, and I think this one has to go into She Killed It, because this was another one that was very surprising. Basically, someone announces in the newspaper that people are going to be killed, and they are working their way through the alphabet, like any old serial killer might if they had any decorum to do something that's interesting. So Poirot investigates, and he finds out that actually there isn't a serial killer, there's just someone who wanted to kill a Mr. Carmichael, I think that's the man with C, but he didn't want to arouse suspicion, and that's why he basically got himself an alibi by killing other people. And I have to say, I'm just glad that the main culprit wasn't named something with a Z in the end, because then there would have been quite a few murders until the main guy died.